Good afternoon. Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. It's a big honor for me to be here today. But I don't want to talk a lot about digital transformation. Instead, I would like to talk to you about how the role of tech and innovations are basically changing the role of government. But before, please let me do a couple of steps back. So in 2019, when the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine was inaugurated, we started to build the most convenient digital state in the world. And just a few years later, Ukraine has become the first country in the world where digital passports are totally equivalent to paper plastic ones. And also, Ukraine has been called a European digital transformation tiger. And that's because in every service, in every product we do, we put citizen in the center of everything. We use user-centric, human-centric approaches, and that's why, and that's how we created DIA, an ecosystem of digital projects, which basically consists of 5 different projects. You probably heard about our core product, mobile application DIA, which is used by 19.5 million of users, and which is our state super app, because it combines 14 digital documents, digital services, and digital signature. We also have digital education in this ecosystem, is a national platform for reskilling and digital literacy. We also have DIA City, a special framework for IT companies and startups to sustain our digital economy, DIA Business, a separate project on the development of SMEs, but the core product is DIA. And even before the full-scale Russian invasion to Ukraine, Ukrainians were able to pay taxes, to pay fines through DIA, and basically do a lot of other services. But as you know, the world is very turbulent and there are a lot of challenges, and probably one of the biggest challenges that we were facing is the full-scale Russian invasion to Ukraine, which started last year. So that's why we had to rethink our strategy, we had to shift our strategy, we had to react on those problems which we've seen on the market, and we had to create a lot of new services. And we were able to do that just because we had the digital infrastructure prepared and just because we had DIA. So we launched some services from 3 days to 3 weeks. And just to give you an example of those services, for example, when the Russian missiles started to hit the residential area, people went to the shelters, and we understood that they need the access to the truthful news, and that's why we embedded TV and radio into the application. The next example, we saw that people were relocating from one region to another, and we created a service that gave a possibility to receive a special status. We call it IDP, Internally Displaced Person Status. And with that status, later on, those people could receive a direct social financial assistance through DIA application. Another example is basically war bonds. So Ukrainians are able to buy war bonds directly from the state, which means make investment directly to the state during wartime and just in a few clicks. Another example is the possibility to receive compensation online for destroyed or damaged property. And that's just some part of the services that we have created for the past year. So basically, what we've done, we had to innovate. We had to use radical innovations approach, so we had to create something new from scratch, which completely changed the way how government communicates with citizens, and we also had to improve some of the processes and projects that we had. And that's how it brings us to the National Innovation Strategy, which we are right now working on and plan to finalize this year and present this year, which will cover those 10 directions that you see on the screen right now. But let me give you a couple of examples. For example, military tech and defense tech sector. Last year, we started the project, which is called Army of Drones, and we started it as the beginners. We started this with buying drones, with asking for donations, with asking for support. But in parallel, we've done a lot of our homework. So we spoke with the Ministry of Defense, with the armed forces, with startups, with private sector. We understood all of the barriers in regulation, and then we just made the needed changes in legislations that allowed us to make a fast track for procurement for Ukrainian manufacturers and drones, that allowed us to make the easier procedure of exploitation, that allowed us to make a separate educational zones for drone operators, and as a result, just in 1 year, from 80 to 200 Ukrainian manufacturers. We have over 50 Ukraine-made drones which are used, 50 different types of Ukraine-made drones which are used on the front line. And that's basically only the beginning. And I would say that that's a great success when you have an idea today and an MVP is tested on the front line just in a, few weeks or a month. Another project we are working on right now is Army of Robots. So basically that's for our military needs, but also humanitarian needs. And we have created a cluster, military tech cluster, which is called Brave One, which unites startups and private sector companies and gives us at the government the possibility to communicate directly and on a regular basis with the industry. And we hear them, we make needed changes, and vice versa. When we face a new challenge, we ask them for their support. We do hackathons, and we basically listen to their solutions and help those solutions become real products. Another priority is the human development capital, and as you've seen, that's why EdTech is one of those 10 main directions for us. We have a great ambition. We want to become #1 in the world when it comes to military education, medical education, STEM education, and English learning. And basically, just recently, we have presented a huge educational reform in Ukraine, which covers, I would say, everything, and helped us to rethink the role of a scholar, teacher, director, parent, spaces, program, and we are already started to implementing this platform, this reform. We also have a platform which is called DIA Education, which is a national edutainment platform for reskilling and digital literacy. So it is available in Ukrainian and in English. And right now, every user can receive a personalized educational trajectory, as well as to learn through edutainment series in reskilling and upskilling section, to test knowledge in digital literacy within digigrams, and do many other interesting things which help to improve your knowledge and skills. But that's not all. We are also working on creating a new governmental application for human capital development, and it will be the most innovative educational governmental app, which will be called Mriya. Mriya in Ukrainian means a dream. So the main idea is that for Ukrainian, in order to live comfortably in the country, you will need just 2 apps, Dia and Mriya. And you will have to communicate just in a few clicks. So the main idea of Mriya is basically to cover the educational process from the preschool to the lifelong learning, to give personalized notifications, personalized trajectories, as well as to give the access to the content, but also to some great products which will be embedded into these concrete application. So the details will come over soon, so just stay tuned about Mriya and Dia 2, and you'll be the first one to know when the MVP will be launched. So since I'm out of time and I tried to cut my presentation, I would like to finish with the next words. We are very open for partnerships with governments, with private sector companies, with startups, with NGOs, with civil society. In the innovation sphere, we want to create mutual R&D centers. We want to share expertise. We want to create mutual products together with you. So let's stay in touch and let's build the bright, democratic, digital future together. Thank you very much for having me today.